Imagine a tool so powerful that it can navigate the complexities of not just your personal growth, but also the dynamics of an entire team or organization. We're talking about a model that helps us understand and harness the full spectrum of human potential. Is that too good to be true? In this video, we explore the integral model. Its 4 quadrants, what they mean for you, your team, or your organization. And also you can utilize a model to up your personal, teams, and organizations game. Strap on, and let's go. Hey, my name is Greg. I'm a master coach helping people, teams, and organizations to know themselves, design their future self, and become their future selves. I'm here to help you live a life where you have control. The integral model was imagined by Ken Wilber and can help us navigate the complex interplay of personal and organizational dynamics. Ken's goal was to create a system that would capture the totality of human interactions, whether individual or organizational. Quite an undertaking. As he managed to create the ultimate system view, time will tell. And in a way, it doesn't matter. At the minimum, what we can do with this model, we can use it to shine a powerful light on how we work individually and how organizations behave and why. Each of the 4 quadrants represents a different perspective, but it is also interconnected with the others to form a complete understanding of human experiences and systems. First up, the interior individual quadrant. This is all about what's going on inside you, your thoughts, feelings, motivations, and the values you hold dear. It's a subjective world that only you have access to. Think of it as a secret diary of your psychological makeup, and no picking allowed by others, except if you let them. Moving outward, we have the exterior individual quadrant, which focuses on your observable behaviors, actions, and skills. This is a part of you that the world sees, from how you communicate to how you tackle tasks. It's like your personal performance on the world stage. Make it a good show because everyone is watching. In the third quadrant, the interior collective, we delve into the shared values, culture, and group dynamics. This is the heart and soul of your team, organization, or family. What binds you together and the unwritten rules that everyone follows. Lastly, the exterior collective quadrant shows us the systems, structures, and external environments of teams and organizations. These are tangible, measurable aspects that dictate how groups function and achieve their goals. Consider the architecture of teamwork. Without a solid blueprint, even the best teams can crumble like a house of cards. Those 4 quadrants each have levels of development that can be reached, and ideally you want them to be developed simultaneously, as any laggard quadrant will drag all the rest down. In my past 20 years of corporate career, which was in one company, I started as a young trainee in what was a very well-aligned corporation. The 4 quadrants were working well together with a culture of entrepreneurship, family, and merit-based, visible through people's beliefs, their behaviors, and with systems that were supportive and not getting in the way of people's work. Unfortunately, that changed progressively over the 20 years that I was there, and I would say that in the last 5 years, it was clear that the announced culture on the wall was not the lived culture. The behaviors of senior levels of leadership were symptomatic of beliefs and values not aligned with the organization. And the systems were progressively removing most freedom for people to move forward the organization. That's an example of how things can go wrong, but you can make them better. Now let me ask you, which quadrant do you feel you understand the best? And which one could use some more exploration? Let's turn the focus inward and explore how these quadrants apply to you personally. Let's start with the interior individual quadrant. This is where your internal dialogue lives. Your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, values, and motivations. To truly grow, you need to tune into this internal narrative. Ask yourself, what drives my decisions? What fears might be holding me back? What are my values? What is my belief system? This quadrant is the domain of the levels of consciousness that I've talked about in a previous video. If you want to learn more about the levels and how to progress through them, then check this out. Next is the exterior individual quadrant, focusing on observable actions and behaviors. Here, feedback is your best friend. Seek out constructive criticism and use it to refine your skills and behaviors. Whether it's public speaking, time management, or technical skills, there's always room to level up. Keep in mind that your behaviors have an intent. They are set within a certain situation, with certain acts that you do, and producing an impact on the person or persons that witness them. All of those are potential areas that you can tweak. Your behaviors are a resultant of what's going on the interior individual quadrant. If you want to change your behaviors, you might have to revise your beliefs and motivations. I remember that practice doesn't make perfect. It makes progress only. In the interior collective quadrant, we're in shared values and group dynamics. This quadrant is about how you fit into the larger collective, your team, your family, and your community. Reflect on the values that resonate with you and how they align with those of the groups you are part of. Participate in group discussions, attend workshops, or get involved in community projects to strengthen this connection. It's about finding or creating your tribe and thriving together. Lastly, the exterior collective quadrant. This is about understanding and navigating the systems and structures around you. Are you aware of the rules and regulations that govern your actions? How well do you understand the hierarchies at your workplace or the policies that affect your work? To improve in this area, consider studying your organization structures or the laws of your community. Knowledge is power, and the more you understand the game, the better you can play it or rewrite the game. All the quadrants interact with others, so be aware of the frictions that one quadrant can create on another. Like if you believe in transparency but are part of a community where everything is secret. That's gonna grind. Coaching question. Which quadrant is an area that you would like to focus on? What steps could you take to move the needle? You like this video so far? Then you know what to do. Also subscribe and put the notifications on if you want to receive content like this every week. And check out all the links and videos in the description below which talk about the same concept of the integral model. Understanding and utilizing these quadrants can completely change how you lead, collaborate, and drive organizational success. Let's begin with the interior individual quadrant within a team setting. Each team member's internal thoughts and values significantly impact team dynamics. As a leader or colleague, encouraging open dialogue about personal motivations and values fosters a supportive environment. Think of it as peeling back the layers of an onion. Sometimes it's a bit tearful, but it always leads to more depth and flavor in your team's collaboration. Much more about how you can work on your values in this video here. Next up, the exterior individual quadrant. Here it's all about observable behaviors. Regular feedback sessions and performance reviews help your team members understand how their actions impact the team. It's not just the role of the boss to feedback other people about their behaviors. The team is codependent, and therefore everyone has a role in providing feedback to others, with positive intent, of course. Constructive feedback is a two-way street. Sometimes you're the traffic light, and other times you're just crossing the street. In the interior collective quadrant, we dive into the team's culture and shared values. This is the glue that holds everyone together. Make sure you build this value roster for your team together and then link them to individual behaviors that you want to observe. Think of it as cultivating your team's garden. The more care you put into it, the more it flourishes. Lastly, the exterior collective quadrant. This quadrant focuses on systems, structures, and processes that shape a team's life. From workflow processes to decision-making hierarchies, team norms, compensation rules, every piece should align with your team's and organization's goals. The key point here is that your system should respect your culture, your behaviors, and your beliefs. In other words, all the other quadrants. And vice versa, they need to support each other. Think of it as tuning an orchestra. Each instrument must be in harmony for the music to resonate. Which quadrant do you think your team or organization could improve most? And please share your thoughts below. Accurate measurement is crucial. It helps you understand where you are, where you need to go, and how best to get there. First, let's talk about measuring the interior individual quadrant. This involves assessing personal growth and emotional intelligence. Tools like reflective journaling, psychological assessments, and personal development plans can provide insights into individual progress. At the team or organization levels, we're talking about surveys, or you can go all the way to having psychometric assessments done for all of the staff. That gives a common language in the organization to talk about personalities, values, beliefs. Next, the exterior individual quadrant. Again, all about observable behaviors and skills. Performance reviews, 360-degree feedback, and professional development tracking are effective ways to measure these aspects. Typically, this type of assessment is seen at the senior executive and executive levels. So if you have a large organization, I would beg you to take care of your entry-level team leaders and managers. Those are the people who need it the most. An example about how to measure leadership styles, which means behaviors, can be found here. There are many more. Experiment to see what works best for your situation. In the interior collective quadrant, we assess team culture and shared values. Employee engagement surveys, team health checks, and feedback from team meetings is what we're talking about. These tools help gauge the emotional and relational climate of a team. It's like taking the temperature in a room, except you're measuring vibes, not degrees. Finally, the exterior collective quadrant. Here we measure the systems and structures that impact organizational effectiveness. Use tools like workflow analysis, productivity metrics, and organizational audits to ensure that structures support your culture, your desired behaviors, your values and beliefs. This quadrant is about the nuts and bolts that hold your organization together. It's less about the shiny exterior and more about making sure that everything works smoothly inside. Ask yourself some simple questions here. For example, is this compensation process aligned with our cultural values and promoting the behaviors we want to see in the company? The last part, to measure, is linked to my previous question. You will find that the majority of tensions in the organization are linked to misalignment between the different quadrants, like the behaviors not corresponding to the announced culture in the company. That's a classic. Or senior leaders having beliefs that clashes with the behaviors they're supposed to have. Coaching question. Consider your organization or team. Which quadrant could benefit most from rigorous measurement? How can you implement this tool to bring about the transformation you want to see? Now that we've learned how to measure the impact of each quadrant, let's explore effective strategies to enhance these areas and tackle some of the challenges that might arise. Starting with the interior individual quadrant, personal growth is key. I've mentioned the video about levels of consciousness before. I cover all the growth part there. For your team or organization, it means accepting to give time for people to do personal reflection and being a role model for this, bringing those moments to your team. In the exterior individual quadrant, improvement is all about enhancing observable skills and behaviors. Invest in professional development courses, seek mentorship, coaching, and set development goals. But it's not just about technical skills. It is very much about emotional skills too. Whether it is about being a better listener or better at asking questions or better at acknowledging people, there is a long list of human skills to work on. For the interior collective quadrant, fostering a positive team culture is the game. Some say that everything starts with culture in an organization. You can organize retreats, workshops, and regular open discussions that reinforce the shared values and collective goals. Celebrate team achievements to strengthen bonds and commitment. Showcase values and behaviors in action throughout the organization. In other words, create a buzz about your culture. Think of your role as a bit of a cheerleader. Bring your positivity to fore so people feel good about what they are achieving and demonstrating for the organization. Lastly, in the exterior collective quadrant, streamline and optimize your organizational systems and structures. Yes, you need to have processes, norms, ways to communicate, ways to decide, etc. Make sure to keep it at the right level of complexity and with clear principles outlined for each process or tool that you have. Come back to those principles regularly to understand if your processes, tools, norms are playing the roles they're supposed to play. And remember that key question: are they supporting or holding back the other quadrants? The integral model is one path to excellence, with each quadrant offering unique opportunities to understand yourself, your team or organization better, and to act to reach the performance that you seek. The times are constantly changing. Peter Drucker captures the need for embracing new models and perspective in this famous quote: "The greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic." One way to align the quadrants is to craft your vision, purpose, mission, strategy, and relevant tactics, whether for yourself or for your team or organization. Much more about how to do this in this video right here.